G'day, it's your old mate Matthew here. Welcome to the Yarnsman podcast. Today we have a yarn with Tom Sweeney. We get into a few different things, but starting with the yarn around the grief of losing his brother and how that led to his sobriety. We touch on understanding your values and purpose and really how to find your people. And when you are grieving, the importance of vulnerability and reaching out and asking for help. Hope you enjoy the yarn as much as I did. Hello and welcome to the Yarnsman podcast. Today we have Tom Sweeney with us. Well, actually, I'm in your house, so
Yes.
that's not... I'm with you today. Tom is a father, a husband, and recent completer of the Coast to Coast.
Relay team, yes.
Relay team. I was going to say the Spates Coast to Coast, but they don't give you a can of Spates at the end, do they?
No, it's Kathmandu.
Kathmandu. So there we go. How you going, mate?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, really well. Thank you for having me. What have you struggled with in the last week?
Oh man, there's a few things actually. I am currently trying to figure out, as I mentioned in your intro, the relay team of Coast to Coast. The ballot for Coast to Coast has opened today, and I'm trying to figure out, do I learn how to kayak and get my Cert 2 and put my name in, or do I do something else? So I'm struggling with that at the moment. But also I'm doing a leadership course, which is a self-intelligence experience. And I'm at a point where I've been trying to figure out my values and my purpose. And it's been I've been writing stuff down I haven't done this for a long time. So I've been writing stuff down that has been, where my values at 35 and at 40, but I'm 44 now and I'm a dad now. And so my values and my purpose have changed. So I'm really delving deep into me. So that's been a struggle because I've not really spent this much time looking at myself for a long time. It's a struggle, but it's really good.
Do you know what those values and purpose and things are now, or are you still working that one through?
I can tell you, I have actually got it written down in this handy little notebook that's right next to me. So you go through this whole exercise of all these different values, but then I had to write my own coat of arms, which is
cool.
Pretty cool, and come up with these really good. This is probably not good for sound. Really good, good things. I hope you got a good. There we go.
Well, no, I think we'll leave this bit in here because it shows that you're flicking through your course book, and it also shows that you have been doing your coursework and homework.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So so discipline, trust, support, and belonging have become my four sort of pillars of my values. And discipline comes from training and work, and just it was more about. Training for an event, I love my discipline. This was come from the health side, the discipline. Support come across, there was health, there was career, and then there was relationships. And support came across all three. I think, having that support from your family to do everything and from your team to do everything and giving that support is really good. Trust, I think if people don't have trust in their values, it's weird. But the belonging was really, really something that I didn't know about myself. I didn't know I wanted to belong. So really looking at, as you can tell, I'm not from here. From my strong accent. I've travelled I lived in Australia for 10 years. I lived in Germany for 6 years, and I've lived here for 9 years. And I didn't know that I was looking for that belonging, and that came in across all my values, which was something that I didn't really understand about myself. I seem to be I don't need friends. I've got enough friends. All this sort of stuff, and I've always thought that. But then writing it down, I felt like I feel like I belong now, and this is where I need to be. I had a moment sat on the deck that we're looking at right now, and it's a small one. That my daughter was playing over there. My dog was under the chair, my wife was cooking dinner, and I was reading my book, and I felt for the first time really fulfilled, and that was that sense of belonging that I didn't know I needed. I think I'm in exactly the right place. right now, and that belonging is really important to me in my values. And I think, your values change, but I do think that will stay.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I feel like we're going to have a whole another conversation about that, given some of the work we're about to start with our social prescribing, and belonging, social connection is a human, basic human need, right? People get it in different ways, but being aware of how you get it, and if you're comfortable with what you have in this phase of your life, is a really important thing, right?
Yes, definitely. It's something that I didn't realise is very important, and people, looking at work, people need to want to belong. People want to belong at home. People want to belong wherever they are, right? So it's something that's really new to me to know as a value.
What do you want to work on the next week?
It's Monday. I'm trying to figure out what my week looks like, but it's more about, we've got, at home we're doing, my daughter's walking. I want to work with her to get her back, get her confidence and get her confidence up. But she's reading, she's doing everything right. So, working on family stuff, it seems to be quite easy at the moment. And it's more about me and my team is what I need to focus on. I'm going through a period of change in my life, which I have been for a long time, and I think that I want to help my team with that as well. With this self-improvement intelligence plan that I'm on, I want to harp on about it. It's made me realise a lot of different things, and how to be more creative, how to choose things better, how to realise what choice is, and how to realise what my thoughts are and how I'm putting them onto other people. So I really want to give that strength to my team as well, and get them to self-realise what's going on. Probably try and introduce this course to them a bit more, and really put that forward over the next couple of weeks, and getting a plan together on how to introduce that to the team.
Well, that's really interesting. Yeah. Again, we might have to talk about that a bit more later.
Yeah.
What are you proud of?
What am I proud of? I'm proud of doing the half of Coast to Coast last week. I'm proud of... Are we talking about in the last week or just...
in
general?
General. I mean, you should be proud of surviving 2 days.
Yeah. The camping was the worst part. I'm not a camper. I just got to try and work on that as well. But proud, like my daughter, she's just coming up to 2, and like the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, she started walking. She's a late walker, and it's just been amazing to see her confidence grow. I'm proud of my wife, who's signed up for a couple of runs recently, and to getting her back into running. She's getting her confidence back up with running. She's going to hate me for saying this when I'm on here, so sorry, darling. But also, the team at work have been really putting a lot of effort in the last few weeks. So they're doing a lot of really good stuff. It's a tough market out there. There's a lot of negativity in the recruitment world. A lot of people, especially in the tech space, getting laid off and stuff. But the team are doing really well, and I'm really proud of their efforts the last sort of few weeks. And we go through these conversations with a few of them every Friday. They know, the people that I talk to this about will know these questions very well.
Well, that's great. Good to see the Yarnsman questions are living and breathing in the community.
Yeah.
What gives you hope?
Hope.
I'm actually gonna flip it slightly. So we're thinking about switching up that question after a conversation with Josh Coman. What gives you meaning?
Oh, what gives me meaning?
You've got your book in front of you.
Yeah. As I've mentioned a minute ago, I've been working on my purpose, and what my purpose is now. So that sort of lends to meaning. And I think that my purpose is to create positive, happy, healthy environments for people to thrive in, that are full of rich experience and opportunity. Is really what I want my next stage of my life to be, and to drive that, at home, at work, in all my relationships. with us. I just want to create that opportunity, connect people to better things, help people, and have them experience. I'd love them to be good experiences, but unfortunately we live in a world where not everything is a good experience. So I just want people to be able to walk into things and understand that opportunity and experience are part of life.
I love that. I love everything you say about that. In previous worlds of workplace wellbeing, I reckon that the key of workplace wellbeing should be to create open, honest and empathetic environments for people to thrive, right?
Definitely.
And as a recruiter, right?
Yeah.
Are we getting the right person into the role? How's that going to work both in the recruitment world, in your own company and setting someone in, and then your own home? I mean, I love that because there's so many different opportunities for that and to bring that in. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm not a DEI expert, so if I say something wrong now, I do apologise. It's just you look at as a recruiter, all these companies are talking about the stopping DEI in America, and it's a really big topic, and we've talking to a lot of people about it, and culture fit. If you just hire loads of people that are exactly the same, you're not going to give people rich experience or opportunity. You're just going to get a load of Toms working in one company that agree with the big Tom, and it doesn't work. So, with our company Crew, we've got a very diverse team, and you look at our other company Potentia, same. So we've merged recently, and we're both very diverse team, and we understand our customers' diverse policies. But when it comes to people wanting to change that, New Zealand, it's a land of diverse people. You can't have that team without a bit of crazy or a bit of a Pom or a bit of an Irish person or someone. There's always diversity in the team, and we need that. We need that a lot.
What's really interesting about this conversation is when the whole D&I, let's call it movement, was coming in, and I was working overseas. It was becoming a big thing when I was at one of the big four. And so all the training, all the professional development was around that.
Yeah.
And I was wanting to bring in sort of wellbeing and suicide prevention training. And what I mean by that is teaching people how to active listen and how to have a hard conversation. Now it's all the stuff around, actually the D&I hasn't, diversity and inclusion hasn't really come up a lot. But really, if we take active listening and being open to hearing different opinions and bringing in diversity of thought, we're talking about just being good humans, right? How do we be better humans? It doesn't need to have a title, a label, or a training course.
Yeah.
We can just help people ask better questions and be prepared to listen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, active listening is something that doesn't happen. People listen to answer. And they, so if, in some conversations if you were talking to me, I'd have my answer before you finished that, and then I'd miss 20 minutes of what you spoke about, and I'd go, and they're like, what? And you can hear it, you see it. I see it in recruitment a lot. I see it. I meet a lot of people. I'm talking to a lot of people, and I'm with people in meetings, and they finish things for people, and that drives me insane. I don't know what you're going to say, but you've just put words in my mouth, and I'll just go, I agree with that. So the active listening part is something that we do need to do, and good humans, just be good. Unfortunately, not everyone is, but just be a good person. 99% of the time, be good. You're going to mess up every now and again, but don't beat yourself up. It's happened. Move on. We can live in the past and be upset about our actions, but accept it, move on, and just be better than you were yesterday. How hard is it?
Yeah, well, well, diving into you a bit more then on that note, mate.
Yeah.
You've had a bit of a tough last year. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so what, was it 2024? 2024 can go F itself. Can we swear on this?
Yeah, we can.
2024 can go fuck itself. In April, I lost a brother, John, who was my mentor. I'm the youngest of four boys. He was the oldest, and he took us all. He moved to Germany when he was younger, about 18, 19, or maybe a bit older, he moved to Germany and sold cars in Germany to American soldiers. That's a whole nother story. But and he brought us all my three brothers over because we were all quite a bit tearaways, probably not going down the right paths. And he brought us all over there and changed all of our lives. And then so he was probably the person that I looked up to the most. He definitely shaped who I am as a salesperson, as a relationship builder. And as a professional, and he was probably the biggest person in that, but also he's my big brother, and unfortunately we lost him suddenly, but then on reflection wasn't so suddenly if we look at all the things, but it was really hard, really hard, and then being so far away, he was living in Germany, and then the funeral was in England. I just couldn't get back in time to see him when he was sick. So I went back for the funeral and a few weeks before, and it was just sad and hard. But we were living with it and getting better. But grief doesn't go away, as many people know. It just sits there, and it's just the same size all the time. But life just carries on, and. I came back, and a few months later, my mum and dad both diagnosed with cancer. So it was just terrible. Lost a couple of other friends. It was probably like the hardest year of my life. But also my daughter was growing up in that time. So, it was one of the best years of my life, seeing her grow. So it was so conflicting. I moved from Dunedin to Christchurch, went for a merge at work, and had to find a new house, had to sell our old house, had to find a new network, had to find a new group of friends, all in a year when grief was my whole life. It got on top of me a bit. I was definitely anxious and depressed and just grieving a lot. And this is where support comes in as one of my values. It was just so good to see your friends and your work colleagues and my leadership team, people that we just merged with. And they, who are also leaders in the business, and so Corey and I were the leaders in Crew, and there's 6 or 7 people that are on the leadership team from Potentia. A few of them I knew quite well, but not all of them. But they just rallied around and supported me in that time. Neighbours here, they didn't know me, and they've become really good friends. And it was the day we moved in, we went to England, and they were just "Oh, we'll take your bins out," all this sort of stuff. And I was well, hang on. And then when we came back, we told them what's happened, and they were just they were just amazing people. That support network, and my wife's family are just super. They're just amazing. And so that support network is so important to have when you go through anything, but let alone times of grief. And I don't wish what happened on me onto anyone, but it just seems to be happening a lot. I'm at that age where I'm at weddings or funerals, right? So it's been tough. But then, in previous times, I would have probably still in the bottom of a bottle, and I gave up alcohol 3 years ago, and it was probably the hardest fight not to find a beer or a bottle of whiskey and just sit there and wish it all away. So I'm quite happy that my discipline was able to keep alcohol away, and I'll never go back to alcohol now. And that was part of the reason that John passed. It's just But as you can tell, I'm in a good space, and I'm getting emotional here, so lucky there's no camera. It's everything I have now is just fond memories of John. And my parents have both beat cancer,
Great.
which is great. It's good news. And so, like, there's only good things to look forward to. But the grief is still there. Like, it will never go away.
Well, there's a lot there, mate.
Yeah. Yes.
And thank you for being vulnerable and let it out.
Yeah.
So, you talk about the support and belonging. Do you think that you were able to connect with people a lot quicker, with your neighbours, with your work crew? There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. That works. By being vulnerable.
Yes, 100%. Vulnerability has got me through the last year. I think that being vulnerable has really helped me get in touch with myself as well as other people understanding. I think there's a few people that have never seen me cry before, but then last year I was crying all the time. Like you could set me off like boom like that. I'd cry over everything. So it just opened up a whole new world of feeling for me. But just being honest and saying that this has happened, I might be like this. People just accept it, and and I'm not looking for any sympathy. I don't want sympathy. I just want directness and just if I'm failing, tell me. Don't beat around the bush. Oh, it's because of this, because of that. No, just say, look, Tom, you need to do this. Like, we've still got a business to run, or we've still got a family to run. We've still got friends to go and see. You've still got these things to do. Don't let something define you. But I accept that you are grieving today, but you still need to hit your targets, or your daughter still needs to go to school, or I'm your wife, you need to talk to me. So there's a lot, but vulnerability just helps that up, and I should put that in there. Vulnerability is definitely something that has helped me in the last year, which I never thought I was that vulnerable. But the belonging part, that does open up a lot. Like, because one of the people that have become a friend recently had a similar situation, and they were able to share that with us, and they weren't looking for sympathy. They were just saying, we know it's tough. So it's good. Like, vulnerability is good, and it helps you feel like you're being valued and belonging. Typical men, we put up a wall. We're not emotional. We're not vulnerable. We're tough. We got beards. Yeah.
I don't know if people would say I'm tough, but anyway, carry on.
But yeah, so and that's how I was brought up. My parents are Irish. Dad's very stoic. But it's just if I bottle everything up, I'd be in the bottom of a bottle. Because that's where the only answer is. When you're that, when you don't let anyone in, the only way you can, the only way I could, sorry, not you, the only way I could solve any problem was by drinking.
Do you think, as part of the move to sobriety, that vulnerability and being open to people was a real key to help you through that process?
Yeah, definitely. You sort of find out who your friends are when you give up booze, because some people are like, "Oh, you're only fun when you're drinking."
Yeah, I've heard that.
Well, if that's the case, then sweet, because I'm not going to be fun anymore. And it's so you need to be vulnerable, and it's just being. You have to find new friends, because that first year of giving up booze, I couldn't be in a pub or at a party. It was so, it's same with smoking. I gave up smoking 8 years ago, and that was through hypnotism, and that worked really well. But with the drinking, I just gave up. I gave up after a really bad hangover. A 2-week hangover, so the session was probably pretty big as well, but it was and I just said I'd put a time on it, and I thought, I'll take a month off, and then I'll take another month off, and it just never went back. But then when and then my brother David, he's sober. He has been for a long time, 8 years, and he said, I'm not a non-drinker. I just don't drink anymore. And I was never able to say that. I was never able to say I don't drink anymore. Like, I was just like, oh, something will pop up that I need to drink.
There's an excuse
I'm
for it.
I'm off the booze. I'm off the booze. And that first year, I was I'm off the booze. Like, I can't go to a party. Can't go. And it was just like, what are you going to do? So, I was a runner, so did more running.
But that was going to be my next question. Yeah. We go from one vice to the other depending on what it is. And so has running been that thing for you? Yeah. Addictive personalities, you place one addiction with another, right? And for me, running has helped that. It's a good one. It's not good for my knee. I was going to say, how's the rig holding up?
It's now very important for me to do strength work. I was never doing strength work before, but I thought running was enough. But when you're getting a little bit older, you need to do a bit more, prevention work, and just rather than rehab, prehab. So I'm just my focus now is to build a stronger body so I can do the bigger distances, and the bigger events. So that's good. But it takes over. Getting a Garmin watch that really helped it really helped because I was drinking and then I was having an 8-hour sleep, but then I was looking at my sleep and I didn't do any recovery because my heart rate was so high, and it was down to, I thought having 2 glasses of whiskey helped me sleep, but it didn't help me recover. So it was just that realizing and understanding alcohol and what it does to the body. I'm not saying don't do it, it's just not for me. Like, it's great. It brings people together. It's good, but for me, it took over everything I did. Work wise, I'd be out and have a couple of pints, and then you take clients out. So it's just not for me. It's not for me.
Did you join a running club or anything when you came to Christchurch? Because the running clubs is like the whole, explosion of growth and community and things like that.
No, I haven't yet, and it's something that is part of my self journey of understanding myself, is to get more connection from people. Like, happiness comes from connection, and. As I said before, I've always had enough mates. I've always had good friends. But I've moved. I moved to Germany when I was 20. I moved to Sydney when I was 25. I moved back to Germany, then moved back to Sydney, and then I moved here. I've moved so many times. So a lot of my friends are text messages. And I've got some really good friends here. They're all in Dunedin. When I first got here, and so coming here. I thought about joining run clubs. I was like, nah, I'll be all right. But now it's one of my goals for this year is to join some run clubs, just to get that connection and speak to people that I've got something in common with, and which is running up hills. So there's a couple that I want to join, but just to get that connection, and I've got some friends I run with, which is good, who I've met through networking events, so. Yeah, I do have friends to run with, but I don't have a run group. But it is my goal. I will be joining a run group this month.
Well, it's an interesting one because I think running's quite a personal thing, right? You want to suit your calendar, your day, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And it's probably you need to get up a level of confidence where you're prepared to talk to people while you're running.
Yeah. Well, there's a few people that I run with that are like, there was one guy that I run with who was a connection through another person, and he was out for a run, and he's only 24, and we're out for like 14k run. I'm sweat is pouring off me. I'm just having the craziest moment. Went up Wellesley Hill and then down Harriel. I'm sorry if I said both of them wrong, but to get. Then he's like, oh yeah, I love this like group stage 2 running. I was like, I'm in bloody group 4, of endurance. I was in nearly redlining in my heart rate, and he was just like so fit. But he talked the whole way. and I'm like,
yeah.
So having been able to talk to people when you run is very important. But I found recently as well, which it's all a bit new age space
sensitive new age guy in there.
Is peace. I need peace. I need a lot of peace. And running, I always run with headphones, podcasts, and now I stop that. Short runs, anything under an hour, I don't run with anything, just to give myself some peace. I don't always need to be on. I actually got this from a podcast, that they were saying, like, just let yourself, get your thoughts in your head, and then you can, and that's where your creativity comes from. You letting your thoughts move around. So drives in the morning to and from work, no radio, no podcasts, and short runs, nothing. Just let the world come in, let my head go crazy. And that's what scared me about running, was being in my own head for a while. That was the excuse I gave myself. Well, I don't want to be in my own head. But now I want to be. I want my creativity to come out. I want to find out what's in there. And I want everything that goes through my day just to get sorted out. And when you listen to stuff, you can't.
I love that. It's the how do we have these experiences where we can have the creativity. For me, it's in the shower or, going out for a long hike. But I can't do that on a daily basis. And my running is, I need the music. I need to know how fast I'm running just in training at the moment. And it's I think the kids call it raw dogging, which I said I was never going to say out loud, because that's just fucking outrageous that there's a name for it. It's running without music.
Yeah. But there's so many people that run without anything. Like, they've got no watch, they've got no, like, how do they know? Like, it's not on Strava. Did it even happen?
Yeah.
My wife doesn't run on Strava. I'm like, how do we know how fast you go? How do you know you beat your last time? Like, why do I need that data? I don't need that data. I love it, but I don't need it. Right, but so having that silence, peace and silence, is great. I love it.
Although I've just come across a new app that I want to try. I think it's called, I'm not sure the actual name of it, but you basically battle other runners for territory. So when you're out for a run, you keep that territory until someone else runs over it.
Oh yeah. Well, on Strava you have local legends of certain areas, and then so if you do so you keep it for 90 days until someone beats your area for 90 days. So it's probably Strava.
So bringing it all back to the self-intelligence experience and is it Mind Warriors, how did that kind of come into the mix? Because this seems all very timely and somewhat purposeful.
Yes, from our MD, actually, from the group MD for Potentiate Group. I think his kids and the guy who does this course, kids go to school together, and it's quite a famous course. And he was like, "Oh, what would you like to do that?" Because I do executive search recruitment, we're looking at introducing something like this to my executive search people. And so he was like, "Well, you need to eat your own breakfast. So why don't you do that?" But I do believe that he was also trying to help me. But he's become a very good friend over the couple of years that I've known him. And I do believe that he was trying to help me and try and get me to look at myself and figure out where I am. Because as I said, working with me last year would have been tough. Being my partner last year would have been tough. Being my friend last year would have been tough, because I was so internal and so focused on me, but not the right reasons. Whereas this has helped me look out what I want to project on the world.
So with all the things you've had happen in the last year and last few while. And moving to a new place, building a new community. What advice would you have to people who are either grieving or coming to a new community?
Grieving, the advice is it just doesn't get easier. It just becomes part of you. It's just part of you. Time makes everything else, fills up other areas. And it's just a sad thing to say, but I do enjoy now sitting down and I have a cry and think about John, but I think about it in a good way, and but the grief is always there. But just know that other people support is what you need, and just be vulnerable and tell them that what you need, because if you're having a bad day, people don't know. Sometimes you don't know what people. I could be so off with you, but I'm going through a real bad time. But just be more appreciative of what people are going through. Most people are good people, so if someone's having an off day, just expect it's probably an off day. But if you're moving to a new community, or you're moving to a new job, or you're moving to anything, is just find your people. Be open, let people come and talk to you. My mum come to visit us when we lived in Dunedin, and I didn't know my neighbours' names. And she went mental, and she went mad. How do you not know your neighbours? And I was like, I don't have time to know my neighbours. So when we moved here, we now know everyone. Like, we're doing a street party this weekend.
Cool.
And we look after our neighbours' kids. They look after ours. We got my wife and the next door neighbour go for runs together. I mean, the husband, we go walking the dogs together. We know everyone around there.
That's cool.
And that's something we never did. So find your people and be open. Like, join any club. If you like running, you like swimming, you like walking, just look it up. There's so many things that I'm off social media. Don't do social media, but again, that's just for me. But find your groups on like Facebook groups. There's so many run clubs around here, and there's so many walking clubs. There's so many knitting clubs and book clubs and everything. They're everywhere. So just get involved in your community, and be open. Just be open and look for support. And don't be afraid to ask for support. A good friend of mine said to me when we had our daughter, and he said, if someone comes around and wants to walk the dog, let them walk the dog. Someone comes around and wants to do your washing, let them do your washing. Don't be too proud to let people help you, because you'll be so happy when it is done. It's just one thing off your plate. So be open to help, and that will help you, and then you'll automatically help others. If you've been helped, I think you will extend that offer to other people. But I'm very grateful for where I am at the moment, and for stuff like this, because this helps me talk about things. And what you're doing in the community is brilliant. And to be part of that community is good, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm very grateful to be talking to you today.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much for the fantastic yarn today, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Easy.